Oh, we going live! We're going for Blue Bro, baby!
We are live, round 5 fan cams after a heart-stopping 3-point win.
Another one in the bag, though. That's it, right?
No, that's right. 4-1.
Up the baggers!
Baggers,
No, it was not okay, but we won.
Where's the pom? The pom is here.
Fuck, I think I'm close to retirement. I have aged about 45 years in fucking 3 weeks. What is wrong with these bastards, man?
I just had to walk out. I just needed to calm down, mate. I just needed to calm down. Look, you take 4-1 any day of the week, but I just don't know if there's any substance to the teams that we're beating at the moment. That's the only... And they got to iron that 6-7 goals out. They got to iron that out because that's going to come back to bite us in the long run.
I'm still shaking a bit, so...
It's a bit like that.
It is. It's a lot like that. Go Blues.
Go Blue.
Ah, Terry! Mate, these fucking fan camps tonight are like a fucking nursing home. What's wrong with all you blokes? Fucking hell, man. It's not fucking 5:30 dinner at the Arcadia wing. Calm down a lot of you.
How are you, Terry?
I'm 4-1, baby. That's how I am.
Tell you. See that? I was stressed, feeling sweating. Like I was watching the live stream with Holly, and it was unreal.
I feel like as a group, and I wrote this in my preview, we're motivated by fear of losing.
Adam, my man, welcome to Carlton winning football.
I'm going to drop dead at 30, mate, with high blood pressure.
If he said we're going to be 4-1 at the start of the year, everyone said we'll take it. And we're 5 games into Boston's system.
We've been copying it for so long, but we held on. I had a heart attack at the end, man. Far out.
I wasn't going to come on, but I just thought, fuck, no, I got to express myself. I'm dying here.
We've won half of our games versus last year already. 5 rounds in.
Wow. True?
4-1, man. How good? Like, unreal. Glass half full. Gotta be.
Christ, mate, like, I don't think many teams could match us with how we played in the first 2 quarters.
With one aspect of key focus in terms of our game, which is, contested ball clearance. It's more than good enough to stand up against, decent opposition.
If Charlie does keep going the way he's going, we could make finals and have another Coleman on the show for one of our players.
Oh, 100%. If we can get that going for all 4 quarters, especially with the next few weeks, we're climbing up.
But if we continue with these performances and we continue getting the 4 points, then you look at the ladder at the end of the year and you suddenly got a lot of points accumulated. And I'd be quite happy, to be honest.
Bossy is our man. I mean, I watched his press conference last week, and that guy, he's not arrogant. He's a measured professional, and he just gets on with the job. And I think, with that sort of class and sort of skill, if we got him for a couple of seasons down the track, we're gonna see a definitely different Carlton.
Got one more thing to say. To all the Carlton fans out there, just keep sticking with us, and get on board if you're not a member, and you have a happy Easter. See you guys.
Welcome. Monday night, round 5 is in the books. Welcome to the Blue Abroad show. I'm Tez, joined with Pom. Mate, what's happening?
Easter special, the Pom's back. Not much, mate. Everyone in the chat, give the old man a little bit of a congratulations. It's his birthday today, so his birthday treat is he gets an hour with me. Not a lot of people get an hour with me.
It's nowhere else I'd rather be. It's it's my birthday today. It's also Blue Abroad's birthday because on the 18th of April, the 17th of April, 2018, the Instagram account was created. So 4 years, mate. It's crazy.
Jesus Christ. And look, I've aged about 10 years doing this 2 years with you, and you still look the same age. So, I mean, says a lot, doesn't it? Says a lot.
The eyebrows have gotten a little bit more cleaner since the beginning, but here we are.
I mean, the background used to be a minefield in Beirut, and now you've got a studio. Check you out.
I know. No, it's great. It's great. It's been a good day of reflection, but we have a job to do, and that is to talk about what happened on the weekend, because it was a good weekend. Before we do, thanks obviously to the members of the channel. Your support is unbelievable, and it's great to meet you out at the footy as well, and connect and put faces to names. Your support's incredible, and I'm definitely feeling all the love and the gratitude for what was seemingly, mate, just a little idea. It's amazing what happens when you action it and you put in the day-to-day grind and then, just be patient with things. So, yes, members, thank you. Pommy, I want to know a bit about your stress levels before we get into the game and everyone's stress levels, because yesterday everyone was a little bit worked up.
Oh, mate, people can attest. I was as calm as shit on the live. Never worried. What a load of bollocks. I was the proper twitchy bum. I tell you, that fourth quarter might have been the longest, 20 minutes plus stoppages ever in my life. I tell you, if that's 20 minutes, someone needs to count to 60 20 times. I don't think it was. But no, it was tough, wasn't it? But we got through it in the end. It was good fun.
It was good fun. It was a lovely day out. What I'll do is, I guess, just ask the question. So, Pom, give us your summation of the game. I know you did your review today, so I want to tap into that a little bit as well, as to how you saw the performance. But for those of you in the audience, 3 words in the comments, please, as to what your experience was in round 5.
I'll give you an analogy because I'm famous for them. If it was a boxing fight, the first 6 rounds were us standing toe to toe. We were ducking and we were weaving. They weren't hitting us. We were getting inside the guard, working the body. We hit them on the chin whenever we wanted. And then the next 4 rounds of this championship fight, we decided just to stand there with our hands behind our back and get pummeled in the face, and kind of like Rocky Balboa. And then the last 2 rounds, we just clung on. Until 5 seconds left on the clock. We put the final blow in and they fell to their knees and took the 10 count. It was a game of, the saying football game of 2 halves. That was a game of 4 quarters, wasn't it? Like, we had a bit of everything in all 4. From top of the ladder, quarter 1, to contenders quarter 2, to what the fuck's going on quarter 3. And by quarter 4, it was like we'd raffled off the tickets for 22 people to play for the club, hasn't it? It's our best to worst is brilliant.
It is literally the perfect example of a game where you can test your own personal situation as to whether you're a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of thinker, because it was literally split down the middle. The first half, I mean, I think over the last few weeks, we've been seeing a good quarter followed by, 2.5 or 3 quarters of momentum from the other team. Whereas this game was split down the middle. That first half, I think Liam said it, there's only a couple of teams that I think can handle what we do in that first half.
Spot on. I mean, you listened to Simon Goodwin last week. He talked about the importance of pre-season, and Carlton giving them a lesson has really upped their tempo. And that's a big accolade for Carlton, and it shows when it's good, how good it can be. When it falls off, though, it ain't the best place to be, is it? I mean, if we're feeling it, imagine what they feel. Like, because you see it on their faces as well. It's not just, I was chewing my collar half that third quarter. I think some of the players wanted a hug in that third quarter. But what is interesting, if you've watched that game, George Hewitt's getting a lot of props in the audience. Where does he come from? Sydney. And Horse has got a real big thing about standing up in pressure, being accountable. It's 22 men, not 22 leaders. And that guy takes the piss, doesn't he? If his house is burning down, he walks in and picks up his mobile phone. That's how calm that guy is. Like, I've never seen any human being like it. So it's a long way, isn't it? It's a long way to the top.
It is a long way to the top. I felt the stress go away pretty quickly. I must say, I'm trying my best to stay as high level in my thought about what's going on as possible, and understanding what each step is for what it is. And I think the overarching feeling is I've just got this weird trust and faith in the process that we're now on this journey that we're now on. And, I definitely would rather be talking about wins in these situations and losses. Having said that, definitely don't want to be talking about a loss that we can see coming if we don't clean this stuff up. And, we spoke about it on the fan cams. Now that we've had a chance to sleep on it, what do you think is the contributing factor to the drop-off? You did give the boxing analogy, which I like. I actually like that a lot. And I tend to agree. We're going all out. It's a new game plan. It's a lot more intense. It's a lot more hard work. This is the hardest I've seen the group work in game ever as a group. And, it's going to be inconsistent. The question is how long for?
Great question. And we probably need more than an hour to dissect that question alone. I think really first and foremost, if you actually look at the side, side, there's wonderful learnings if people actually care to look at them. First quarter was the most times that Carlton have escaped the contest, which is amazing because the last 2 weeks we've nearly lost a game because we couldn't get it away from the contest, as demonstrated this week by Hawthorn. Geelong play on a ground that's narrower than Heathrow Airport. They got battered by Hawthorn because Hawthorn control the corridor. Geelong only know corridor football because their ground is Mickey Mouse. Week before, though, St Kilda, they like to spread their wings and fly. The Ratton game plan absolutely destroyed them. In the third quarter, there was a moment, 5 minutes 32 into the third quarter, Zach Williams picks up the ground ball get from a wonderful spoil by Lewis Young. He goes inbound. Sam Doherty's in acres of space, and he fucks the kick up, turns it over, and the rebound 50s just occur. And that is what is killing Carlton. When they switch off, we've got a little stat. If you want to bring it up now, it might be a good time.
Yeah, I've got it coming up now. Talk us through this.
This is where it falls off. So you'll see quarter 1, 2, and 4, and the change between their average metrics. So you can see the margin there, average is 6. Second quarter is our best quarter, 14.6, 2.2 in our fourth. We break even. And then it's that third quarter. And you see the change here. And I want you to look at the against in red, 7.4. And that is the alarm bells for Michael Voss, because that is where Carlton not only, very similar to the first quarter, a lot of their numbers, but you'll notice something different. The pressure affects our kicking. If you watch that game this week, in the second half, Carlton played on from nearly 41% of any opportunities inside 50, as opposed to 12% in the first half. And that is a common theme. That's a sign of pressure, because you'll see two guilty parties are Harry and Charlie. And their natural temperament is to play on. You saw Charlie this week and Harry take a bit of time. Do you know what I mean? Take a bit of time on them set shots. It's something they're growing to do. And that is definitely something that Carlton do. You've got to remember, I'm going to bore you here, but the media have told you about this and warned you about it. 15th of June last year, Riley Beveridge. Carlton have got a serious issue. 9 of the 13 games of the Carlton's last 13 games, they have been 30 points down at any point in the game, only to draw level or hit the front. 4 of these games, they've gone on to lose. At this stage, it appears that the Teague train is derailed and it's fatigued at the station. If Carlton can't score well, they're never going to contest. 11th of July, Lee Matthews said, if Carlton cannot control the football from stoppages and centre clearances, with the players they have on the list now, there is no hope, no chance. David Teague, pre-season that year, said that their biggest issue in 2020 was their ability to concede goals in batches. The primary aim of our pre-season this year has been our work around stoppages and controlling the football, retaining possession with a high focus on inside 50 tackles. He also went on to say he had faith in the group and they must start well because scoreboard pressure is the main pressure. Mark Robinson at the bye last year said Carlton are soft. That is the new brand of football, defined by a soft Carlton with no pressure, no clue, no hope, And on the 30th March, he said, David King said, David Teague's game plan is fraudulent, masked by last-minute red time efforts to merely make the scoreboard look more presentable, to paper over the cracks of their deficiencies. At the end of last season, Carlton were ranked 17th for tackles inside 50, currently number 1. 8th for tackles this year, around the ground, 16th last year. We are number 1 side in the competition for disposals and effective disposals. We were 18th in both of them last year. Our effective disposal efficiency is 4th in the league this year, only 16th last year. We are the 2nd best scoring clearance side and the 3rd best stoppage clearance side, ranked 17th and 16th. And we are the 2nd best centre clearance side and the number 1 clearance side in the competition, 15th the year before. What I'm trying to say there is in the space of 4 rounds, David Teague had, that's based on David Teague's 2 pre-seasons and half a season we won't count. Voss has turned that team around to a team that now is super competitive in the facets that the club has identified and the media for the last 2 years as a deficiency in Carlton. So what we're talking about here is layers, and he has got the cake now. Now it's icing the thing. So to be fair, everyone in the audience, give Voss a fucking clap on the back, because that has never happened in the AFL, just so you know. No one has ever gone that high from, bottom 2, most of them stats I've just reeled off. Phenomenal effort.
Yeah. And I think now we've got 5 games, which is a solid subsection of the season now, and a solid amount of data to look at and see what the trends are. Is anything surprising you? I mean, you did mention how it hasn't happened the way we've been able to turn it around, but is there anything that you are surprised to see so far?
Tackles inside 50. Legit. Carlton have ranked horrifically in that. And it's weird because why I'm so passionate about it is the media feed you a story. The media feed you a story that David Teague was the saviour because he won a few cheap games at the start of his tenure. They refused to check any other stats. And then they started to hang him for the stats that were improving. And now they're hanging Voss and saying, oh, he's got to work out turnover. Oh, he's got to work out turnover. Well, if you've ever tried to fix anything and you've ever worked in coaching, training, or you've learned something yourself, you don't learn the full article. There's modules, and you fix the essentials first, and then you add the whimsy things. Do you know what I mean? You don't go into a job. You've just started a new job. They're not going to teach you everything straight away. They teach you the core values, and then they layer it, and they layer it. And in a year's time, because you are who you are, you'll probably run that place. That is how good development works. To be fair, the media should be really saying Michael Voss is a genius, but yes, transition is shit. It's going to kill us. We don't use the fat side of the ground. Carlton have never heard of the wings at the moment. The first time we played on the wing was this week, first quarter, and we battered aside. So give him time. Like I am telling you now, Carlton may limp into the 8. They should get in the 8. Do you know what I mean? They should do. Next year, though, is the year that you should be saying another pre-season, maybe a few players in. Where are these boys? But I guarantee at the state of development, by the by, Carlton are going to be a different side altogether because every week something has been added. And you've got to forget the players we're missing. Mitch McGovern, 4 score launches and 4 intercepts on average over his first couple of games. That's dead. We haven't got that. We haven't got that anymore. Cripps has been missing. We got battered in the contest in that third quarter. We couldn't quite get the job done. We've never really had a full complement of staff to play his game plan. And it's always bit part players. So, and like Peter says here, imagine the finished article at the moment. We're creating a beautiful baby. You wait till this thing's rocking out and it's year 11 ball. Yeah.
No, I'm very much on the same wavelength of feeling like it can only get better from here. Yeah, I mean, I have such I mean, this time last year, we might not have as fans the full context of what's going on the inside and the instructions and all of that, but we watch games so closely and repetitively that we pick up on energy, and we pick up on application, and we pick up on connection. I can reel off literally this time last year, Port Adelaide round 5. Peter gets in a little scruff on the middle of the ground in the MCG. No one goes to help him. Little things like that. We were talking about the disconnect there. So it's a good start, but it is only just that. And I think as the challenges come this season with more injuries to come, you would assume it just happens. I'm not sure what's going on. The winter's coming well and truly. So what does that mean for health and safety protocols? It's, it is an exciting time.
Yeah, and what I want the fans to think about is you say that the biggest thing for this side is it's got less than a 40% win percentage, right, in its team. So that means these guys are specialists in failure. And I want you to think of something. When I used to coach golf, right, and I coached some very good players, you found you could fix their ailments and they'd look really sexy on the driving range. And then they'd come to you and they were leading in the 3rd round or the 2nd round, and they shit themselves. And there's a reason. Going back to a boxing analogy, you're in a heavyweight title fight, 12th round. You're behind on points. You've been knocked down 6 times. Your face looks like the Elephant Man, right? And your coach looks at you and says, mate, just go out there and swing for the hills. You're either going to get knocked out or you get a lucky punch and knock him out. All the pressure is on the guy winning on the scorecard, because now he's got this horrible thing of, Jesus, Terry's swinging his arms wildly. If I get knocked with one of them, I'm going down. I've done the hard work. That's why Carlton were fraudulent, because it's easy to chase, but it takes a real test of character. It's really hard, when you're the big dog and you've got all these horrible hyenas yapping at you. It takes a real character. And the boys don't have that character yet. They'll fucking learn it, though, because Sam Docherty's immortal. Do you know what I mean? George Hewitt evidently laughs in the face of fire. I've heard COVID is scared of George Hewitt. Harry Mackay takes marks against gods. Charlie Curnow's the best looking thing Melbourne's ever produced. Like, they'll learn this, but at the moment, these guys are little soft babies. They've never, ever been chased by anyone. Maybe girls in the playground, but that's it. They don't know how to be the tough guy. They know how to chase, and that's tough.
Yeah. I had a look at the album of the game, and I want you to look at this photo here. And it hit me straight away when I was thinking about the game. And obviously you're looking at Jacob Wiedering, Sam Walsh. I mean, Jacob Wiedering, we're talking about year 7. Harry's right there, year 7. These are the guys that led the group out. I know it's just an image, but I feel like this says so much. Wiedering, to me, it's the first time he's captured the club in a home game.
Look at them boys, bro. Look at the fire in Harry's eyes. He's about to kill someone, Harry.
Well, that's the point. The point I'm trying to make is, in terms of, they've totally taken ownership of this club. It's obviously, it had to happen. We really let go of the Murphy Betts era last year and Levi Casbolt and all of that. And this is the early phases of them totally having control of this club now. There's no more backstories or subplots about champions who have played 300 games. There's none of that anymore. There's no more road to 300. There's no more road to 350. It's just them. And, I think they're going okay. I really do.
Mate, I think what you just said there, what the best thing Carlton can do, right, look, is write 1995 on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Do that. It's not 1995 anymore. The cold hard facts of reality is Carlton, football-wise, are Gold Coast Suns with history. That is the difference. Do you know what I mean? In the last 10 years, we've played as many finals as Gold Coast has. Do you know what I mean? We've been as good as Gold Coast have. It's the AFL know that. They don't respect us. And them young men there, they were about to go to war. Not for me, not for you, for all of us. And they need us behind them. It's all right believing Carlton are the best side in the world and thinking, oh, well, Cooter used to run around and win flags. Cooter's not playing anymore. Do you know what I mean? Simple as. Cooter, I know Cooter. I have coffee with him. He can't run out and win you a game anymore. He'd die. So it's these guys. These are the heroes. We've got to get behind them, man. Got to get behind them. And they're doing, I've never been proud of this side. I come on here and I'm the harshest bastard to these players because I believe in them. I'm starting to see a little bit of evidence that my belief wasn't misfaith. So let's get behind them. They're learning. They're going to fuck up. They're going to, because all they've ever done is fuck up. Well, now it's their chance to create a new history. And hopefully, in 10 years' time, you and me are drinking a peanut and Grigio together, handing this over to two younger, better-looking people, and we're laughing about how we won 4 flags in 6 years.
Yeah. I think the other storylines, actually, I'll ask everyone, what were the other storylines from the day that you think maybe haven't been covered just yet? Charlie Curnow is obviously one of them that I want to bring up. Just the story of where he's at and the fact that he seems to keep getting better. They just posted an article on the Carlton website with Charlie. He's talking about how it's been a challenge. It's 2 years on the sidelines, backing it up week to week. It's been a challenge for him. He's only now starting to feel like he's in a good routine during the week. I think we mustn't take for granted, and we easily do because it just happened. He played well and he kicked 5, but we can't take for granted every time it does happen, especially this early in the season.
It's just great to have him back, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw him today, this week, played on Aliyah, and you've got to remember 6 games ago, Aliyah not only cost Wheater in an All-Australian, but broke yours and mine heart, didn't he? He made Shannon cry on our live stream.
Yes.
Well, Charlie Curnow just said, you know what, mate? Not today, mate. This is my town. And battered him. And I thought another story, that's not going to be talked about in the AFL, is resilience. Certain players fucked up in the third quarter. Lewis Young, 3 brave spoils after making 2 of the worst handball errors inside defensive 50. That's the character. If we're going to win a flag, these players need to learn fast. I've made a mistake, but you know what? I owe you one. And he paid it back. 2 very important spoils.
Yeah. The other part, I'm going to read a few of these out, but before I do, the other part about the game was Voss's presser when he was asked about, the fade out, and he referred it to just a lack of concentration and focus. And, we talk a lot about the mental part of this game, and clearly that wasn't there last week against the Suns, but to be able to lock in the zone that they were in that first half for 4 full quarters is again, not something this group has been doing. So is it just as simple as focus? Maybe it is. And I think the other part as well, I want to bring some of these other storylines up. Pito getting the love that he got was really good to see. I'd love to see everyone appreciate what he does bring to the team. In an ideal world, though, what is the mix for you? What is the ruck mix? Is it Pito with Jack helping? Is it Pito with Tom? Is it Tom with Jack helping? What is the ideal mix, do you think? Or are we literally just a team that will change it every week?
My concerns with TDK is ruckmen are like dogs. 1 year for a midfielder is 7 years for them. Like it takes a while. And I thought Voss did the brave call of dropping him because last week was an aberration. He was never going to beat Witts. But you saw when Jack went against him, he was smart. He stood in front of him. He acted as a body. He made it harder for Witts and incidentally won 4 of his hit-outs versus Witts. This week, he went against Soldo, who's not an elite ruckman. And what is worrying is he played predominantly on Samson Ryan. And he's pissed, let's be honest. And Ryan beat him, in fairness. So I think he's got to, ideally, we'd have him. He's a great rotation. The top teams play with it. At the moment, I think he needs to really work because I can see it affecting his confidence. I saw a man who psychologically remembered playing Witts when he saw the size of Soldo, which is what we've done to a lot of players, overplayed them out of necessity, not what's good for them. It's what's good for us.
I liked the look of it against the Ds because Tom played a relatively good game and was relatively influential in that game. I said this in my review. I wish we could just inject 3 years of experience into Tom and have him playing right now with Pito because love Pito, always have, love the job that he does. I still think it's imperative for us to have some sort of a chop out. And yes, Jack does give us that, but Tom has that point of difference with the athleticism. And I think the two of them together, provided that they're both in form, and that's the big thing. We need Tom to be at his best.
Mate, I agree with you. And I think what Voss did was brilliant leadership. I saw a man very unconfident again. And he got into the game towards the end in the VFL, credit to him.
Yep.
But early doors, you could see, because he got battered, you've got to feel for TDK. He will have gone away and gone, I really let my team down today because I had the responsibility. I went from apprentice to acting, ruckman, and he got schooled. So for me, Murkoff did well, but again, he's still a bit away and you don't want to, he's starting to build a bit of form himself. So you've got a while to go. Do you know what I mean? A while to go.
For sure. A bit more patience in that position, for sure. The other two players I want to bring up who have been criticised a bit for rightly, wrongly, whatever. Jack Martin, the first one, the 10 score involvements, finally had a game. I mean, he did fade, and a lot of them did, but really did some serious work in that first half in particular. And I think he played one of the better games that he's played for a while. And Zach Fisher, whew, I think that might have been one of his best games of his career.
Well, I mean, I thought the selection said to me, and a lot of people were complaining Jack Martin kept his job. I said, all them outs, if I'm Jack Martin now, I'm like, oh, fucking hell, the gun's at me. Logically, I'm the next one out. The next guy out, and especially with Kent's form the last 2 weeks, playing his role, particularly as the conduit, which is a struggle town for Carlton. What a great way to respond. He's still the specialist in 2 quarters out of 4, which probably suits this team at the moment as well. But he's always going to be a downhill skier. Like, I hate the negativity Jack Martin gets. He's a proper downhill skier. When you're going good, he'll always be good. He's the cream. Jesus is your workhorse on the other flank. So once he gets involved, he's hard to beat. And a great response from him and Fisher, another guy that's got a lot of abuse the last couple of weeks, stepped up. And that's what good sides do and good players do.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the other thing I always remember is we have this group there. They become like a family in a really weird, unique way. Like literally, we've had a lot of these guys. We remember them as little kids, as 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds coming through. Fish is definitely one of those where I get a little nostalgic because I still remember his first year with his hair and then his headband and then all of that. And I'm really bullish to see. I can't remember the gentleman's name. He was later on in the fan camps. I think his name was Andrew. Could be wrong. Apologies on that if I am. But he was talking about, just imagine what 2 to 3 full years under this new regime is going to do for players like this.
Spot on. I mean, other guys we haven't mentioned, like Cottrell got a lot of abuse, but you look at a pure wingman's role, had 2 possessions in the first quarter that don't count as turnovers by Champ Starter because he kicked it into the face of a Port Adelaide player from 2 meters. Don't count as a turnover there. After that was pretty brilliant. Taps and spoils on the ground. Really good overlapping play as well with his halfback and his half-forward flank. Really good. Jack Nooms, everywhere, does the Setterfield job that he did last week. Setterfield, for me, I don't know how he doesn't get in the firing line of Carlton fans because he's neither here or there for me. But both of them did their job. And it's no surprise if you go and watch the VFL, what the VFL struggled with. They couldn't get away from the contest. And Hayes had 39 possessions and absolutely destroyed Richmond. And they got battered because they had no natural width because we had all the wingmen in our squad. So they did well. So a lot of players go under the radar. You've got to remember no team has 9 out of 10 superstars all across the line. And they're plodders. They're not brilliant. But tell you what, you'd take Cotter's output. If he does that every day of the week, he's in the team.
Yeah. I sense that the wing positions are one where the coaching group's gone, all right, well, we've seen O'Brien. I think he's played okay. I think he's been okay. Is it a situation of okay is not good enough, or was it just not good enough for them that they still wanted to see what Cottrell will do instead? I still think they're figuring that out. I sense that they're still figuring that out. Then you've got the Zach Fisher conversation, which I've seen pop up now. Is he an option on the wing? Although the fact that he hits the scoreboard, the fact that he did hit the scoreboard is an important factor for the position that he plays. So I don't know. It's still an unknown for me. I think there's a few holes that we don't have surety on just yet, but I'm excited to see what happens. So what I'll do is we'll move on into the votes. So those of you at home playing along, 3, 2, and 1. Pom, 3, 2, and 1.
3 Sam Walsh, return to form. Shocked everyone. Everyone thought it was Charlie, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm shocked at
got
that.
Got to surprise you. 2 Charlie and 1 George Hewitt.
Love it. I went 3 to Charlie. I went 2 to George Hewitt. And I went 1 to Sam Walsh. I actually was having breakfast with my family this morning and saw George Hewitt. Gave him a little fist bump. Told him, good job yesterday, George. It was so cool. He is. That's the other question. Is he our best recruit since like Sam Doherty and Chris Judd? What a start.
There's Ed Kernow's been probably what Carlton's best consistent performer over the last 3 years, and you see why he does the grunt stuff. George Hewitt is Ed Kernow with a touch of class, and he's a joy to watch, isn't he? I mean, I've never ever seen a Carlton player since Judd, when he has the ball surrounded by 8 people, that I just know he's going to hit a target. Some of them handballs, and the fact he runs back into trouble almost taking the piss at times, it's almost like he likes it. Like, I reckon he enjoyed that. You know, I looked at his face, and it was when they kicked the goal and there was a stoppage inside forward 50 and he had a grin on his face. It was like, he was like, oh, I've got to win this one. I love this.
He loves it.
And I was like, imagine being next to him because he's calm. He loves it.
Yeah, no, he's been a delight. He's been a delight. And I think we should be looking. Well, you brought up the quotes just now from last year. Who remembers Kane Corns on Trade Radio saying that he had no idea why Carlton would offer him 4 years at $450 a year? He thought it was a bad deal. He was criticizing it. Mate, we paid George Hewitt half the money Dylan Shields on at Essendon, by contrast. It's a steal. It's an absolute steal. And I'm trying to think the last time we were talking about such a bargain of a contract. Maybe like a Liam Jones, but George deserves all the props that he is getting. It's good to see people really give him the kudos he deserves.
Mate, I'm shocked Kane Corns had a bad take.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? I mean, come on, Kane Corns knows nothing about football. You can put me on record for that.
I want to turn the conversation as we end the round 5 review onto a little something that happened after the game, which was disappointing, but I think it should be addressed. Tommy Rockcliffe was spat on with his son at the game. Now, he was put it up on Twitter. He was talking about he was getting a bit lippy, and all in good fun. You go to the footy, you yell out, you scream out, you get a bit of the rivalry going with the opposition teams. And I don't know who it was, if it was one person or a bunch of people spat on him with his son there. I can't believe it still happens in 2022. We're still talking about it. I really can't. I was really surprised at it. What was your take on it?
Well, I mean, not great. I mean, I just can't believe any human being would even spit on someone, to be honest. I can't think of anything more shameful, to be honest. But then if you add into the fact he was with his child as well,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything that's warrants ever giving anyone abuse when they're with a kid.
Yeah.
Even if you hate someone, do you know what I mean? Leave it. So, I mean, whoever that guy is, from your Uncle Pom, I can't give you a higher title of melt. You've defined whatever melt is and people think it is. Whoever spat on him, melt. Big one.
Just thought we'd bring it up because he's a really top-notch guy, Tommy Rockcliffe. Really top-notch guy. I've met him a couple of times up in Shanghai, and just a quality human being. And he loves the footy. He loves getting amongst it. He loves the banter side of things. He does it in good spirit. So it's a shame when such a small subsection of any community ruin it for everyone else. And I hope that doesn't reflect on everyone else that supports the club. But we will address it. We will move on. Mate, that's round 5 done. That's it. Easy dubs.
4-1, baby.
4-1, baby. The Carlton reserves. What did we think about the Carlton reserves from the standpoint of, did anyone really play well enough to push themselves up for selection?
In short, no one excited me.
Okay.
No one got me salivating. I did like Stocker's game. It was very limited in his output.
Yes.
Right. So you look at the core numbers, it worked gravy. Defensively, though, he was very sound, very assured. Some nice passages of play. But like O'Brien, I love O'Brien and I want to like him. But my concern when I watched O'Brien is I was like, right, you've been dealt a bit of a blow. In my opinion, you're stiff, mate. Like you've been knocked out of the side and Setterfield is still there. However, Cottrell, Nooms, been averaging close to 30 touches each in the reserves, 15 touches, and the ball went out there as well. They looked to exit. He just couldn't get it. He couldn't get it. But Carroll was good. Nice game from him. He'll probably be 2 weeks away. It seems to be Voss wants this 3 batch of form. So I reckon 2 weeks he could be putting pressure on that wing spot. Was very good on the wing. But the first time we've really seen it this year. So that was about it, the takeout. Apart from that, a few guys just meandering. It won a great game for them, though. Richmond schooled them a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had a look at the I was only following the stats. I saw Stocker's stats just from a statistical point of view. It didn't scream out as much as what last week did. I was very curious as to how he had played just on Liam Stocker. For those of you who didn't see it, he's been working with Beyond Blue for some time now as an advocate for mental health issues, and even more particularly with his battle with anxiety, and did a really great piece on the Beyond Blue YouTube channel, and the video came out, and he's quite a remarkable, and we've spoken about it a lot. He's quite a remarkable and well-spoken and well thought out human being, and I sense he's really found his purpose as to who he wants to be and the legacy he wants to leave as a man. I think he's starting to really find that, and I'm excited for him. It was interesting to hear him talk about the dichotomy between playing in front of 70, 80,000 people, not a worry in the world. As soon as he leaves being a footballer, he goes through what he goes through. And I just hope for him to get a little bit more luck with the body that he hasn't really had over the last couple of years. And I hope to see him play, just 8 to 10 matches in a row and really start thriving and becoming the player that we know he's going to become. And, he's not just defined by him being a footballer. He's a lot more than that. But it's exciting to see some of these boys have their thoughts articulated and put out there, and just to see what they're standing for.
Mate, couldn't agree more. I mean, any young girls and young boys watching this show at home, one of the hardest things to do is in any human being, and I look at my parents, think about your parents if you're young, how often they admit mistakes and times that they've been vulnerable. To do that as he did in that video, as raw and honest, shows a level of human being that is higher than a lot of people, because the hardest thing you can do is open your heart and be vulnerable. And it sounds weird, but if you're young out there, you're defined not by your job, not by your money, not by your upbringing. You're defined about your heart, and people smell the heart. People might not admit it, but they see it. And if you can look in the face of adversity like that and say, you know what, I'm not okay, and talk about it bravely, you are the most that is a superpower. And you know what, Liam Stocker, superhuman. Like I don't often cry. That cut me to the core, because he was raw, he was honest, and we need more people like that in the world. And if you're young out there and you're looking for someone to be the best you can be, warts and all, and don't give a fuck what anyone thinks, because that is how you'll be happy. And what a superhero he is. That's a hero in my book. Beautiful human being.
Yeah, a great young man. We wish him nothing but the best. Let's talk about Saturday night coming up, round 6. It's Freo It's in Perth at Optus Stadium. They had a really good win against the Bombers. They're sitting pretty in second spot. We're both on 16 points. What are your early... I know it's very early in the week, but what are your early thoughts on this?
I think if we're talking about the psychological edge, you've got to remember that the last 2 weeks have been teams statistically who batter us. Even the last 3 weeks, teams that seem to know how to beat Carlton, a lot of bad memories. Do you know what I mean? A lot of bad memories. This side, though, almost feels like we can't lose to them. I would imagine a lot of these players are like, you know what, Kerno went down like 5 minutes into one game and then Cripper wasn't there and we beat them. Do you know what I mean? I reckon that this, for a psychology-wise, that these guys are going to have fresh, positive thoughts. It's going to be a tough game, though. These guys are no mugs. Like, what they've done over there, what Justin's done over there is nothing short of remarkable. They play a modern-day game. They're good on the outside. Probably a little bit showing, if anything, our brand of inside could hurt them a bit. Outside of Taberner, they're not really much of a threat up forward, but he is a bit of a threat himself. Rory Lobb's a bit hit and miss. It's going to be a tough game. It's a tough game. Carlton will go into this game not favourites, which probably suits them. But this is it. I'm going to say this now. Carlton win this. Finals is locked away. The statistical probability of not playing finals from 5-1 is almost like, you know, Taylor Swift hacking this and saying, "Pom, marry me." That is the statistical probability. So it's huge. It's an 8-point game.
It is an 8-point game. We do play them twice, I believe. I believe we played them another time here in Melbourne. And yeah, there is a little bit of that with Freo. We have seemed to be the older brother to Freo. And the image comes into my head of when we beat them at Marvel Stadium last year and Cripps picking up Sarong. And that was last year. And that was obviously early in the season. We had lost our first 2, I think. I have a bit more confidence in how we stack up against them. And in a funny way, I don't see us having such a big swing in the game the way we've seen over the last few weeks, because I actually think this one will be wire to wire all game.
They're no pushovers. And do you know what I mean? Like, this league this year has shown you anyone can beat anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hawthorn last week ran away with St Kilda. This week controlled Geelong, who were many people's, can they beat Melbourne? So it's going to be a tough game. But I would say, if I was in the Freo camp, I wouldn't want this game now. They're on a bit of a run, and they're like, Jesus, though, they always beat us. It's in their ball court now. They've got doubt. We should turn up and be like, you know what, we've done it when we were dog shit. We can do it now, we're good. And Cripps is back, and he looked hungry, didn't he? Felt sorry for Cripps, half-time, big beaming smile, like, how good's this? My boys are winning. And then I bet he was shitting himself, so I bet he can't wait to get out there, and I predict Chera to go mental this game. This is going to be his game.
Well, we spoke last week about the Walsh-Chera connection. I actually think it, for the first time this season, took a big step forward, especially in that first quarter in round 5. I think that'll only get better. Chera had quite a few more uncontested possessions than contested possessions, which suggested what we spoke about last week about him playing a bit more on the wing. Is that something you want to see more of?
Yeah, I think you saw it in the fourth quarter. He went back more centrally, and there was many a time that Walsh and Chera, they're so instinctive, God bless them, that they go for the same ball. There was a wonderful passage of play about 11 minutes into the fourth where Walsh picks the ball up and Chera's actually helping the opposition tackle him just out of instinct. And I was like, oh, boys, come on. But I think this is the game. You know, every player's had kind of a welcome to Carlton, you now love me. I reckon this is his game. I reckon this is the game. Chera turns it on and says, you know what, this is what you're missing.
Yeah. Well, what are the changes for this week that you can flag? I mean, don't know where Cripps is at. They say it's a minor one. I'm not sure how minor it is. We're going to find out over the next few days. I'm trying to think who else is in the reserves that would want to be getting straight in. Is there anybody that you want to take out?
I'd have one change. Satterfield out. If Cripper's fit, Cripper's in.
Okay. And what if Cripps is not in?
If Cripper's not in, I would take Satterfield out and bring Dow in.
And okay.
Dow's got to play this week somewhere, shape or form. I do think that is the stupidest thing Carlton have ever done, play him as a sub when he's been on a bounce of good form. Whether that's to get him around the boys, but Omac's due back this week, but it was a test, so he's definitely going to need a game. So there's no one really coming back. So yeah, Cripper in, Satterfield straight strop, go out there and batter these flogs.
Yeah, I'm thinking on the same wavelength. I'm always going to keep the faith. I think he's just figuring it out. I think there's a bit of, I'm not sure. There's just something that he hasn't quite figured out. Yeah, I don't think he's playing poorly. I just don't think he's being as influential as what I think I know he can be.
No, I agree with you. I think he's had opportunity though. So like, I think Voss, he's a very intelligent coach, and Port Adelaide, this is one thing that's annoyed me about Carlton is they bring a guy in from the reserves, drop him straight away. Port Adelaide, why they're really successful with their young kids is they all get 2 to 3 games. So I thought Parks did some wonderful things. I didn't see his ball distribution, and that was what was great in VFL. So that's probably, I'm a little bit scared, which is understandable. So this week, definitely, if we can get a rotation policy of 2 chances to shine, second chance not taken, back to the VFL you go next in line, I think it keeps them honest. So other than that, Oscar McDonald, maybe if he was fit, but the fact he didn't train and failed the fitness test, even for the VFL, would say to me that he does need the game. He does need the game.
I think so. Well, the week will continue tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Almost Blues Brothers podcast comes out. Be sure to check that out. And I've got another preview for the Jumper Punch. It's episode 31. So they've gone to get a great that wears the number 31. I think you're starting to see a theme here. Last week was really good, by the way, with Jared Wade. I think people got around that interview quite a bit. But as for tomorrow night, well, this is who the special guest is.
Hi, Tom Melvin, number 31. If you thought I was a dashing player back in the 80s, nothing compared to the boys on the Jumper Punch. Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
These old Carlton legends, Tommy Alvin. I can't say I have watched a second of him play football. Obviously seen some highlights and whatnot, but he's a name that comes up with the people that watched him play a lot.
Hey, he's a folk hero. You hear a lot of the older guys. You can see some of the lovely ones, big friends of the channel, Sean Costello and Lana, getting super excited. And we know Lana loves her players as well. So it'd be a good one to watch so we can be a bit educated, because I was 2 years old when he played.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember nothing. I wasn't alive to watch him at all.
So I've made everyone in chat feel old, and Terry's made me feel old. So there we are.
Love it. And yeah, Pommy, what's on for the week, mate? What do we got to look forward to on the Pommy and Oz YouTube channel?
Oh, Pommy and Oz YouTube channel. We have a special guest for the VFL wrap. So from a brand new podcast. So he's making his video debut. So look out for that. Friday, we'll have the review. We'll probably have a FIFA stream in there where you can come and talk bollocks. We've done the hard one though, but make sure you send your questions after the game at Pommy and Oz on Twitter. I try and answer them all. It's getting harder. These videos are getting fucking longer as well because people are just throwing the questions in. So get them in, and I will try and answer them analytically and with an element of humour.
I like that. Also, we did tick over the 7,000 mark over the last few days. We're now at 7,041 subscribers. So thank you very much. I do have a little bit of an internal goal in the head. Would love to see 10,000 by the end of the year, but it is really just a vanity metric, to be honest. The numbers are what they are, and when 10K happens, 10K happens. But do want to appreciate every single one of you that's been part of this since the beginning. It is the 4th birthday of the channel, of the whole platform, and yeah, just full of gratitude today, Pom. I really was. It was a good day of reflection.
Well, you should do. And I think the biggest news is that little rat fiend looking guy, Swoop Luke, pot shot in Carlton. interesting statistic for you, because I know he likes statistics because he listens to me because he can't count. He's only got 2,000 subscribers. I'm just about to surpass him, which means Blue Abroad are 3.5 times larger than him. I mean, talk about Mickey Mouse YouTube channels. Tell you what, Kev's Magpies won't be far off, taking over Sweet Luke.
We love Luke. He got me good this week.
We do love him.
He sometimes he gets me and I just have to respond, but just tweeting about us all the time, it's a really good exercise in just restraint.
You love to hate him, don't you?
Yeah, he's the best.
I talk to him and I want to glass him, but I would drive him to hospital. That's how he is.
It's all building up to our clash with Collingwood, which we'll get there when we get there, but that's exciting. That's coming up.
It is.
Pommy, thank you as always, mate. Thanks for being here. Thanks for always being here. And you guys at home, thanks for tuning in tonight. We will speak to you over the next few days. The preview for Saturday's game will come out likely tomorrow, if not Wednesday. And we'll go from there. Enjoy your night and go the Mighty Blues.
Go Blues.